earlier, you try to make it seem like, oh, the car is good as purchased. Now she has to do damage control. Now she got to, this is where the pride, the ego, and the reality of how silly and how they've been bamboozled. This is when it starts to soak in, when the reality sets in. Getting finance for the vehicle. So you need to come up with the rest of the 104,000. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's what they're not telling you. What they're not telling you is none of that shit works. What they're not telling you is you could be potentially committing fraud. What they're not telling you is you could be hit with a bill associated with that thing you deposited. What they're not going to tell you is as soon as you get that bill, they're not going to be nowhere around. What they're not telling you is they fuck so many lives up for people believing that shit. What they're not telling you is they stole a lot.
I always pay for my car. No, I'm not following that.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
No,
they're not going to tell you what I'm telling you. They're telling you everything that you want to hear. That's why I said
I don't follow Jonah anymore.
It don't matter what you follow. You're still doing processes that he taught you. You don't have to follow him.
I'm not. Listen,
mindset. It's crypto. Your mindset is already. See, she's trying to defend instead of listening. She's trying to defend something there's no need to defend. She don't get it. She's so busy trying to defend. She's still missing the key point. Everything she said doesn't matter because she knows she's doing the same thing she was taught. So you're defending nothing. What it is the reality is hitting too hard, and it's a tough pill to swallow. Now she's saying, I'm not doing that stuff. Oh, I ain't saying I got the car. But you damn might as well said you did, because that's how you presented it, that it was as good as purchased.
No, I'm not following that.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. They're not going to tell you what I'm telling you. They're telling you everything that you want to hear. That's why I said
I don't follow Jonah anymore.
It don't matter what you follow. You're still doing processes that he taught you. You don't have to follow him.
I'm not. Listen,
mindset. It's crypto. Your mindset is already. I'm not saying you did. I'm not saying you did. What I'm trying to tell you is you don't see this. I see it. I'm on the outside looking in. You don't see it. The effect of being with these people has had on you. You don't see it. You think everything is just cool. But I'm trying to tell you, you don't even know it. Notice it. You're doing processes, whether you know it or not, that you're trying to get around the actual credentials that you need to have shit go through. But that's what these processes breed. You know there's no real, hold on. Here's clarity. I got you. But you know there is no real money in that account in which you deposit that instrument, where it could be debited from. They can look at that as fraud. That was a substantial amount that you deposit. If that IRS reverses it and sends you a bill of 2% of that amount, you're looking at hundreds of what happened? A good spot. Take 3.
And the first time
I can't teach you or show you the regulations they relied on to get their results. I guarantee those results are not going to be long lasting. You can squiggle around and get a check out the IRS because the system generated it before they go back and check. But when they go back and check those accounts and you did not have the proper regulations, they're going to ask for the money back. What they're not going to do is let you know that the IRS asked for that check back. They're going to sweep it under the rug or disappear. Don't be fooled by material shit that they show. Regulations, codes, statutes, and being in compliance with the rules to the game. That's going to take you farther than anyone else saying, hey, you want your account to look like this? Want your account to look like this? Join my class. Yeah, okay. I think it fucked up. I'll be vaping live on it. Hold on one second, y'all. Hold on one second. I think I fucked up by vaping live on this. Good.
I did it with the treasury. Sorry, with the trust account with the USPS. And
what she's gonna say is, oh, I did it and they rejected it. They didn't send me the bill that time. Just still missing the point.
It went back. They didn't charge me anything.
Right. Still, it's a discretion. You're still putting yourself in that position where it could happen.
You're right. Yes, you are definitely.
If you don't want to be sitting here with a $225,000 interest and penalties debt because they are aggressive with their collection aid practice, especially that amount. What I'm saying is, do whatever you do, but you always got to stay on the right side of the law with it because you're on the fence of legal activities, illegal.
I'm on the IRS side because of the
but you're not. But you're not. You're not. You're really not. You're really not. That's what I'm trying to get you to see.
I should just do the paperwork instead of doing it.
No, what you should you see what I'm saying? Everything's just about sending more paperwork. Never no understanding. Never no. Let me just sit my happy ass down for a second and learn more. It's never no. And she thinks she's on the IRS. I'm on. No, you're doing everything they say not to do. You literally, that could have went a whole different route. And it's still up in the air. You're not on the IRS side. When you deposit an instrument with the IRS, unless you explain how different this instrument is and give the proper instructions for this particular instrument, it's going to credit to your account, but they're going to be looking at a subsequent account to debit. That's how it works. And if you didn't clarify that, nah, this is not a public account. This is more like set off this instrument with equity that I feel I'm entitled to, whatever. But they're going to be looking for another account to evidence it. That's why we're going to go back and say, that's why I say, there was no money in that account. You know damn well when you walked into that bank, you was bringing in worthless documents. You may think that means something because you throw some codes and statutes and notice of interest, but you know it's hot air. It's nothing of value that you presented. It was nothing. But they know these things, and they still do it. You're not getting finance for the vehicle. So you need to come up with the rest of the $104,000. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's what they're not telling you. What they're not telling you is none of that shit works. What they're not telling you is you could be potentially committing fraud. What they could look at that as fraud. That bill, they're not gonna be nowhere around. What they're not telling you is they fuck so many lives up for people believing that shit. What they're not telling you is they stole a lot.
I always pay for my car. No, I'm not following that.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
No.
They're not going to tell you what I'm telling you. They're telling you everything that you want to hear. That's why I said
I don't follow Jonah anymore. I said
it don't matter who you follow. You're still doing processes that he taught you. You don't have to follow him.
I'm not. Listen,
mindset. It's crypto. Your mindset is
I got
already.
The car. I said I have a
I'm not saying you did. I'm not saying you did. What I'm trying to tell you is you don't see this. I see it. I'm on the outside looking in. You don't see it. The effect of being with these people has had on you. You don't see it. You think everything is just cool. But I'm trying to tell you, you don't even know it. Notice it. You're doing processes, whether you know it or not, that you're trying to get around the actual credentials that you need to have shit go through. But that's what these processes breed. You know there's no real, hold on. Here's a moment of clarity. I got you. But you know there is no real money in that account in which you deposit that instrument. Facts. That's the part that they don't ever seem to get. Now, unless you can explain that, it's a worthless document to them. This is why they put out Alert 9910 for worthless documents like that. This is why. Where it could be debited from. If you go get a purchase order for a Maserati, let's say it's $115,000, that you're trying to get around the actual credentials that you need to have shit go through. But that's what these processes breed. You know there's no real, hold on. Here's a moment of clarity. I got you. But you know there is no real money in that account in which you deposit that instrument, where it could be debited from. They could look at that as fraud. That was a substantial amount that you deposit. If the IRS reverses it and sends you a bill of 2% of that amount, you're looking at hundreds of thousands of interest.
And listen. And the first time I did it with the treasury, with the trust account with the USPS, it went back. They didn't charge me anything.
Right. It's a discretion. You're still putting yourself in that position where it could happen.
You're right. Yes, you are definitely.
And you don't want to be sitting here with a $225,000 interest and penalties debt, because they are aggressive with their collection aid practice, especially that amount. What I'm saying is, do whatever you do, but you always got to stay on the right side of the law with it, because you're on the fence of legal activites, illegal.
I'm on the IRS side because of the
but you're not. You're really not. That's what I'm trying to get you to see.
I should just do the paperwork.
See, they don't get it. Sitting back and understanding, being patient, taking your time, no matter how long it takes, from the time you start studying and gaining an understanding until you're ready to start submitting documents. That is what they want to get around, because they don't have the patience and discipline to do it. That is the hallmark of these people who are motivated by greed, who are in desperate positions, who are just impatient. They want what they want now, but don't know how to figure it out to get it. But they don't want to do that. So just substituting this paperwork for that paperwork is just another way of saying, I don't feel like studying. I'm just going to keep pushing it to hopefully one day it gets honored.
Instead of doing it.
No, what you should do is listen to this advice. And this advice is not just for her. It's for anyone who, although you may not publicly believe, you move like her. And I fuck with Crypto Girl. but I keep it 100 across the board. I don't give a fuck. Whoever was in her position I was talking to, it was still going to be a live review.
You're right. Yes, you are definitely.
If you don't want
correct.
to be sitting here with a $225,000 interest and penalties debt because they are aggressive with their collection aid practice, especially that amount. What I'm saying is, do whatever you do, but you always got to stay on the right side of the law with it, because you're on the fence of legal activities, illegal.
I'm on the IRS side because of the
but you're not. But you're not. You're not. You're really not. You're really not. That's what I'm trying to get you to see.
I should just do the paperwork instead of doing it.
No, what you should do is study more and understand your position so you can put stuff together effectively. You're moving with half information and you don't have all the information to be doing the things that you're doing. Yep. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You think you got it, but you only really got about 10-15% of it.
Damn. You give yourself that credit.
I'm serious. You only got like 10-15% of it. But what I'm trying to get you to see is, I don't want you to get jammed up, because I know, well, I believe that you're not purposely trying to commit fraud. I know that you're not purposely trying to swindle them. I believe that you're standing on your rights, right? Correct. And regardless of what side of the fence that you're on, when you stand on your rights, you're still responsible for everything you send off. You're responsible for every deposit that you make. You're going to be held accountable for everything that you do. So what I'm telling you is to keep you out of these people's shit lists often. No matter how much it sounds, no matter how much you don't subscribe to the theories, from what I see and what I hear, it's all the sovereign citizen way. No matter if you don't believe it or not, listen, you don't have to have those words on there. Listen, you don't have to have those words on there. You don't need to have the belief system. If it looks like it, they're going to treat you like you're one. That's all I'm saying.
Can I just say one thing? Just one more thing. I need to say one thing before we.
Go ahead.
I only filed ever, okay, because I was married for like 15 years to a soldier, and he filed joint, okay? So I've probably filed ever in my life 4 times taxes, okay? And the only time I've ever put any documents in with the IRS was online, and that's twice.
That's
ever.
Cool. Still missing the point. She's talking about acts, filing this, filing that. I'm talking about mindset and understanding. That is the biggest point that a lot of these people who lacks the discipline to stop sitting in documents until they fully understand what they're doing. That is their always response. Well, I didn't do this. I only did that. I'm not talking about what you did and what you didn't do. I'm talking about the understanding. But when you bring that up, they have nothing to say.
Okay? So I don't do processes. I don't send paperwork. I don't do none of that shit. That's just not me. If I don't know what I'm doing, I'm not going to do it. That's why I knew what I was doing here, and I thought they were going to accept it, but, you know, it is what it is. I know how to deal with it now.
Yeah, I ain't worried about. I ain't worried about.
I'm not that person that does the process. It does the sovereign citizenship and sends all this paperwork.
No, I'm not saying you. But here's the thing.
Frivolous filing. None of that. That's.
No, I got you. No, I got you. I mean, here's the thing. Here's the tricky part about it. You don't even have to be one. You don't have to subscribe to it. For all I care, you can hate that ideology. But if some of the things you do are mirroring it, that's when the waters get muddy. That's all I'm saying.
But that's the thing. How am I mirroring it when I haven't even put in a process?
See, that's the thing.
Documents, and that's on the line.
That's the part I'm trying to get. You don't see that you are. Just what what you emailed me in tonight. A whole bunch of sovereign citizens tried what you tried tonight. That's what I'm trying to get you to say. See, they've already tried what you tried. That's what I'm trying to get you to see. They went down this same path you're going down now. And usually sovereign citizens go down that path. Even though you're not one, I'm just trying to tell you.
Sovereign citizen somebody that doesn't even deal with the IRS?
They still go down the path. They still do it.
They don't have paperwork in or
and she's talking about having paperwork in with them, creating a relate. She don't even understand that sovereign citizen rhetoric. Oh, you gotta have your paperwork in place. Have your paperwork in place. Sovereign citizens believe that they're a, and we know sovereign citizen is not a term. We know it's not in the dictionary. It's just a phrase, a label. We know sovereign citizen is just a label. It's just a label. We know that. For people who share these similar like beliefs, they just give them a label. So stop with the semantics. But most of the sovereign citizens, they believe that the U.S. has no jurisdiction. The land is theirs. They don't have to pay bills. Everything is theirs. Whatever. However you want to phrase it. But they also use the same tax forms and send in same claims to the government that they say they have no jurisdiction over. They send in tax forms in hopes of getting fraudulent returns. Yes, sovereign citizens still uses government forms. Why do they use it? Because anytime they feel like they could get something for nothing or it's an advantage, they're going to throw all their belief systems out the window. This is why I don't take them serious. Because if every sovereign citizen in this space had $1 million drop in their lap and that $1 million would cover all their bills and leave them with $300,000 left over to do whatever they want, they would drop that sovereign citizen shit. They will get tags on their vehicles. They will pay their bills. Most of them that come to these spaces lack the financial security. You don't see millionaires saying they're sovereign citizens. Now, 10% of people in these spaces can pay their bills all year without a hiccup. The other 90%, this is why they're doing these processes. So let's just stop it and call it what it is.
I mean, I don't understand what the sovereign shit is.
When you're dealing with the bank, it's only time you should have real paperwork and all this extra paperwork is if you're a major trust and you're managing $2.5 million in asset. It's a 15-page document. Got to go into the IRS. 15 pages. All typed up by hand. How much understanding and knowledge and studying you think I had to do in order to put this together? Questions about the nature of the income tax. A Treasury determination that the 16th Amendment allowed for the income tax assessed for the said tax years to be direct and non-apportioned. We're a little confused because the IRS believes that the 16th Amendment authorized such a tax, but the congressional record, Proceedings and Debates of the 78th Congress, First Session, Volume 89, Part 2, March 2nd, 1943 to April 5th, 1943, pages 1459 to 2940. More specifically, page 2850, 7th paragraph, seems to differ from the IRS. This section reads, the 16th Amendment authorizes the taxation of income from whatever source derived, thus taking in investment income without apportionment among the several states. The Supreme Court has held that the 16th Amendment did not extend the taxing power of the United States to newly accepted subjects, but merely removed the necessity which might otherwise exist for an apportionment among the states of taxes laid on the income, whether it be derived from one source or another. So, the amendment made it possible to bring investment income within the scope of a general income tax law, but did not change the character of the tax. It is still fundamentally an excise or duty with respect to the privilege of carrying on any activity or owning any property which produces income. The income tax is, therefore, not a tax on income as such, which most people think it is. It is an excise tax with respect to certain activities and privileges, which is measured by reference to the income which they produce. The income is not the subject of the tax. It is the basis for determining the amount of the tax, straight from Congress's mouth. The above insert was from Congress, who makes the Internal Revenue laws. So we are confused and need assistance. This is for a client of mine. A, what certain activities or privileges did the taxpayer engage in that was an excise of nature that served for the basis of the assessment of taxes? B, does the IRS look at the income itself, or do they look at the activities or privileges as the source of the tax? C, did the taxpayer, by reporting and or assessing taxes on Form 1040, when the activities or privileges that produce the income that were not an excise of nature outside the scope of the income tax laws under Subtitle A, subject himself to Subtitle A? If the answer to question C is next, would it be a violation of his First Amendment right, freedom of speech, to force him to pay the taxes he erroneously reported and or assessed when he was not lawfully required to pay the said taxes? E, does the taxpayer have the right to correct information provided on the original tax returns or schedules if the original tax returns were inaccurate, when the IRS requires all taxpayers to provide truthful and accurate reporting? F, was the Supreme Court's Brushaber holding accurate in their opinion about the income tax when the court said verbatim, "We are of opinion, however, that the confusion is not inherent, but rather arises from the conclusion that the 16th Amendment provides for a hitherto unknown power of taxation, that is, a power to levy an income tax which, although direct, should not be subject to the regulation of apportionment applicable to all other direct taxes, and the far-reaching effect of this erroneous assumption will be made clear by generalizing the many contentions advanced in argument to support it." Note, after generalizing the many contentions advanced in argument to support the erroneous conclusion that the 16th Amendment provides for a power to levy an income tax which is both direct and not subject to the regulation of apportionment, the Brushaber Court pointed out that the very suggestion of a non-apportioned direct tax is completely incoherent because that will cause, here's their words again, one provision of the Constitution to destroy another. That is, it will result in bringing the provisions of the amendment supposedly exempting a direct tax from apportionment into irreconcilable conflict with the general requirements that all direct taxes be apportioned. The result, instead of simplifying the situation and making clear the limitations on the taxing power, which obviously the amendment must have been intended to accomplish, would create radical and destructive changes in our constitutional system and multiply confusion. G, was it verbatim that taxes on income is in its nature an excise, entitled to be enforced as such? Is the IRS interpretation of Brushaber on his website consistent with the actual verbatim holding from the said court? The IRS website states that Brushaber recognized that the 16th Amendment authorizes a direct non-apportionment tax upon United States citizens throughout the nation. Does the IRS's interpretation of Brushaber posted on his website accurately reflect the actual holding from that court and the congressional record from the proceedings and debate cited above? The answer to these questions will give us clarity and allow us to process the IRS's demand for payment properly and accurately. The answer will also give us confidence that the payments made will not be against the taxpayer's Bill of Rights, which protects the taxpayer the right to pay no more than the correct amount of tax. Taxpayers have the right to pay only the amount of tax legally due, including interest and penalties, and to have the IRS apply all tax payments properly. The questions presented are well within the taxpayer's Bill of Rights, the right to be informed. Taxpayers have the right to know what they need to do to comply with the tax laws. They are entitled to clear explanations of the tax laws and IRS procedures in all tax forms, instructions, publications, notices, and correspondences. They have the right to be informed of decisions about their tax accounts and to receive clear explanations of the outcomes. And that's just page 2, 1 and 2. You see how we combat them? The one. Shout out the one. Appreciate you, homeboy. Y'all get like the one, man. Get like the one to drop a super sticker, super chat. If you can't do that, hit the like, share, subscribe. Hit the heart. Hit the heart. Hit the 100. If what I read was 100 to you, hit the 100. Put a 100 in the chat. But do you see how just the first 2 pages, it's an art to putting these documents together. It's not just slapping words together. It's an art. Do you notice the format? It's in a way, just in case we got to go to court, I'm going to spank their asses in court. We started with the congressional records. That sets the bar. Then we go to the Supreme Court binding opinion that coincides with the congressional record, pretty much coincided with Congress. And then we agree with Congress and the Supreme Court. Okay. So now we're looking at the IRS saying we have some questions. We didn't say, oh, my client don't owe these taxes. Y'all playing. My client don't got to pay tax. We didn't say that. We said, okay, can you answer these few questions in order for us to process the payment so we can send y'all payment? But before we do that, we got a few questions. And why did I ask these questions? Because in federal tax court, in the rules of civil procedure, if you ask questions and they ignore the questions, which will become your argument, they can't come back and argue our position later when we ask for clarifying answers. Because my client, we're not trying to tax dodge. We're just asking questions to get more of an understanding. The taxpayer, we have a right to be more informed of, hold on, how do we owe this? Give us some explanations. And if they refuse to answer, that is called a estoppel. If you don't respond to the claim right then and there, you can't respond to it in the suit. It's an admission. You see that? That's part of my client's trustee package. We pay for it. This is just one part of it. 15 pages of fire. Not going to find my shit floating around the internet. Everything I do from scratch. All this right here is typed up by hand. All this. All that's typed up by hand. All this typed up by hand. All this in this folder. I think this is my copies. Yeah. All this right here. Typed up by hand. Never a frivolous response or a negative response. But what I'm trying to tell her is she needs to be studying to build herself up to that. So she knows what she's doing. The understanding goes farther than just putting words on a piece of paper correctly. It's how your position is, how you just systematically break them down while not coming off as a tax protester. I don't ever protest taxes. I ask clarifying questions. cash money, no equity, none of that private equity.
Hey, the one, that's how your shit gonna look too. You hear me? That's how your shit gonna look too, one. That's how your shit gonna look too. Your shit gonna look just like that. Richard, that's how your shit gonna look. Everybody got served. That's how your shit gonna look. Just like that.
These shit.
Peter,
Only time you should
self-made. Who else I got in here? Everybody.
Have all these big paperwork is if you got a big corporation.
Well, like your brain.
Or you got a portfolio of assets. Or you got private wealth. You're mega rich. Look, that's the only time you can have all these trusts and all this stuff. You don't need all that.
I get that. Now let me ask you something. With an instrument, for example, like my securities that I've found on, let's just say, an AT&T bill.
Right.
I have the original. I've got the original certificate, you can say, right? The original.
The fuck does it matter?
Original security.
Doesn't matter.
That's showing me the amounts, the auctions, the the tendering of payment, the on the Treasury news, the debt news. You know what I'm talking about? Right. I'm seeing all this.
Okay, but here's what: you're not the registered beneficial owner, so it doesn't matter. That's what I'm trying to get you to say. You're not on the books. You're not getting dividends. You're not getting issued 1099.
But I am getting dividends because I'm getting an AT&T bill. So I am.
That's not a dividend. That's not how they look at dividend. That's what I'm trying to get you to see. That's not a dividend. That's a prime example. That's another sovereign citizen way of looking at it. That's how they look at it. A bill is credit. That's how.
So this is a problem with the sovereign citizen bug. They take normal meanings that got their normal understanding that's widely accepted and put their own. So basically, what the sovereign citizen bug is, this is a rectangular piece of paper. This rectangular piece of paper does not fit in the circle hole that they need. So what they do is they look at this rectangular piece of paper and say, this is a square, this is a circle paper now. Now let me put this rectangular paper in the circle hole, and no matter how much it's not fitting, they just paste it right there inside the hole's fit. Do you see how the sovereign citizen bug has people just sounding foolish, just sounding crazy? Before she got hit with that sovereign citizen bug, but these are the after effects from being with people like Jonah Bey. Although you leave the effects and the ideologies of their teachings is ingrained in them. This is where lack of self-awareness and how the human mind works. That was embedded in her subconscious mind. You know why? Because when she first came to these spaces, I guarantee she came to these spaces in the beginning to get something out of it now. So whatever your original, unless you do the paradigm shift, whatever you came there for from the beginning is more than likely what your mindset and beliefs of the system is going to be shaped. So normally when people get a bill or a statement in the mail, that's just a fucking statement. But when you get with the sovereign citizens and get bit by their bug, that bill is a credit. It's a security. It's a dividend. Let's just say it was a dividend. How do you have to pay a dividend when you're supposed to be receiving it? You see, just the sovereign citizen bug gets their followers to throw all basic logic and reasoning out the window in order to stay on this belief system. You have to throw logic out the door. Out the window.
Or you got private wealth. You're mega rich. That's the only time you can have all these trusts and all this stuff. You don't need all that.
I get that. Now let me ask you something. With an instrument, for example, like my securities that I've found on, let's just say, an AT&T bill.
Right.
I have the original. I've got the original certificate, you can say, right? The original security. That's showing me the amounts, the auctions, the
You hear that? The auctions, the amount. That means they're selling it. That means somebody else is the beneficiary of those proceeds from the sale. She's not even nowhere near in that game with them. Somebody else is the beneficial owner. But the sovereign citizen bug has people thinking that just because your name's on it, just because your name's associated with, then it's automatically yours. That they use that premise in order to get around the fact and study how securities work, registration of them, book entries, book value, who's the registered beneficial owner of it. See, in the real securities world, you have to be registered on the books as the beneficial owner to have an entitlement. But the sovereign citizen bug, it's mine. Now I can go in their world too.
you know, the tendering of payment.
Right. So she's the obligor, right? She's definitely the obligor. They send her the bill. They're not sending her a dividend.
On the Treasury news, the debt news, you know what I'm talking about? You're right. I'm seeing all this.
Okay, but here's what. You're not the registered beneficial owner, so it doesn't matter. That's what I'm trying to get you to say. You're not on the books. You're not getting dividends. You're not getting issued 1099.
But I am getting dividends because I'm getting an AT&T bill.
So right there, she says, I am getting dividends because I'm getting an AT&T bill. Hold on. Let's just look it up. Let's just look it up. Because we all know the answer. But this is how the sovereign citizen bug really affects normal understanding. Basic, like you don't even have to think about it. Watch this. If I get a bill from AT&T, does that mean I'm getting dividends? And my wife, she's not even in the security world, but everybody knows that if you get a bill, that means something you're liable for. You can't be liable on something when you're getting dividends. You know what I'm saying? But the sovereign citizen bug, it tells you to throw that out the window. So let's see what they got to say. Receiving a bill from AT&T doesn't mean you're getting dividends. A bill is a request for payment for services you've used, like your phone or internet service. Dividends, on the other hand, are payments made to shareholders from a company's profits. If you own AT&T stock, like I said, which means you're the registered beneficial owner, which for federal tax purposes has to be reported to the IRS, you might receive dividends, which are typically paid quarterly. So if you're getting a bill, it's just for service you use, not a sign of dividends. But I didn't even have to look this up. We all know this. If you ask any American who's not even in the securities world, if they get a bill without even knowing the securities world, they're already going to know, hold on, that's something I got to pay. That ain't something I'm receiving. But the sovereign citizen mindset gets you to throw that basic reasoning and logic out the window. So how do you think? This is why they don't progress, because they're so stuck on their mindset, their normal mindset that they had before they got bit by the sovereign citizen bug. The mindset that they adopt after being bitten by the sovereign citizen bug sets them back, sets them further away from their goals, because they start adopting beliefs that makes no sense. And if you're not even making sense in your normal everyday life belief system, how can you be successful with these processes? because the sovereign citizen bug, what it does to these people is it has them looking at the world a certain way. But the way they're looking at the world is not the reality of the real world. So they're in conflict with just normal securities, normal registrations, normal processing. They take the real law, real regulations, and throw it aside. And they make up their own terms of what the law is or what they want it to be. But then they wonder why they show up to the teller and they're saying, we don't accept those. We don't know what that is. But in their mind, oh, this is what it really is. This is the issue. And this is the dangerous effects when you get bit by the sovereign citizen bug.
Oh, I am.
That's not a dividend. That's not how they look at dividend. That's what I'm trying to get you to see. That's not a dividend. That's a prime example. That's another sovereign citizen way of looking at it. That's how they look at it. A bill is credit. That's how they look at it.
It's a bill of
That's
exchange.
how they look.
Oh my gosh. No, she went back to the 1990s sovereign citizen talking point, where a bill, an AT&T bill, is a bill of exchange, which is a three. This is how ridiculous, how dangerous, and infectious this sovereign citizen bug is, babe. It has these people thinking that an AT&T bill is a three-party draft. It's the same as a check. And it's not even the fact that these are her own thoughts. These are her own belief systems. This is nothing but passed down, watered down ideologies that have never gotten anyone any results, and they still try it.
But that's what they say. I'm not being funny. That's what they say. It's a bill of exchange. That's what they say.
Yeah, they do.
That's exactly what they say. That's exactly what they say.
I found the CUSIP on it. I know it's pooled.
It doesn't matter if you found the Dead Sea Scrolls in a bottle.
Hey, there you go, fam. I ain't saying no, man. They found a Dead Sea Scrolls in a bottle. And I'm usually not the one to laugh at my own jokes, but that shit was funny. Because I was getting frustrated at that point. Like, yo, your thinking and belief is so far removed from reality. You are starting to sound crazy and bug. It gets them sounding crazy. That's what it does. And they know in their real, true, higher self that that's not the reality of real world. But since they got bitten by the sovereign citizen bug, they have to adopt this belief.
You're not on the books. You're not getting dividends. You're not getting issued 1099.
But I am getting dividends.
Only time you should have real paperwork and all these extra paperwork,
Not
how they look at dividend. That's what I'm trying to get you to see. That's not a dividend. That's a prime example. That's another sovereign citizen way of looking at it. That's how they look at it. A bill is credit.
But here's the thing. They don't ever believe that they're sovereign citizens. They just don't like the word. They don't like the label. But all their talking points is the same as a sovereign citizen. All their documents, everything. Like, why are you putting public law on a fucking financial instrument? What the fuck does public law have to do with a financial instrument? A financial instrument is a financial instrument. You don't have to explain to them what it is.
Credit. That's how they look at it.
It's a bill of
That's how
exchange.
they look. But that's what they say. I'm not being funny. That's what they say. It's a bill of exchange. That's what they say.
Yeah, they do.
That's exactly what they say. That's exactly what they say.
I found the Q-tip on it. I know it's pooled.
It doesn't matter if you found the Dead Sea Scrolls in a bottle.
Hey, yeah. Wait. Hey, that shit was. I'm gonna clip that one up.
Not how they
Hey,
make a
yo.
dividend. That's what I'm trying to get you to see. That's not a dividend. That's a prime example. That's another sovereign citizen way of looking at it. That's how they look at it. A bill is credit. That's how they look at it.
It's a bill of
That's how
exchange.
they look. But that's what they say. I'm not being funny.
No, hey, all of her answers was what all the sovereign citizens say. Yo, every single answer was sovereign citizen. I'm like, yo, when she don't believe she's won, she was with Jonah Bay. That's already knew it. When she said, I don't follow him no more, but I said, you ain't got follow. You still got bit by the bug. You still got bit by the sovereign citizen bug.
That's what they say. It's a bill of exchange. That's what they say.
Yeah, they do.
That's exactly what they say. That's exactly what they say.
I found the Q-tip on it. I know it's pooled.
It doesn't matter if you found the Dead Sea Scrolls in a bottle. It doesn't matter. You're not registered on the books as the beneficial.
Yeah, and she did got me going on Patrick Devine. The Patrick Devine order.
Not how they look at dividend. That's what I'm trying to get you to see. That's not a dividend. That's a prime example. That's another sovereign citizen way of looking at it. That's how they look at it. A bill is credit. That's how they look at it.
It's a bill of
That's how
exchange.
they look. But that's what they say. I'm not being funny.
Hey, yo. Hey, yo. Hey, she said, what is the bill of exchange? Well, and I was in my point. I'm trying to tell her the other thing that they say. And she hit another thing. And I said, hold on, that's what oh, shit.
The on the Treasury News, the debt news. You know what I'm talking about? You're right. I'm seeing all this.
Okay, but here's what. You're not the registered beneficial owner, so it doesn't matter. That's what I'm trying to get you to say. You're not on the books. You're not getting dividends.
So her answer to that, she got a Q-tip and it's a bill of exchange. She totally did not answer the fact that you're not on the books, you're not the registered owner. And she had nothing to say, but I got the Q-tip and it's a bill of exchange. You're not the registered beneficial owner, so it don't matter. You notice? Didn't say nothing with that.
Dividends. You're not getting issued 1099.
But I am getting dividends because I'm getting an AT&T bill. So I am.
That's not a dividend. That's not how they look at dividend. That's what I'm trying to get you to see. That's not a dividend. That's a prime example. That's another sovereign citizen way of looking at it. That's how they look at it. A bill is credit. That's how they look at it.
It's a bill of
That's how
exchange.
they look. But that's what they say. I'm not being funny. That's what they say. It's a bill of exchange. That's what they say.
Yeah,
Oh,
they do.
That's exactly what they say. That's exactly what they say.
I found the Q-tip on it. I know.
look, instead of just being like, hey, all right, maybe I'm off. That's another sovereign citizen response. They just keep going on and on. They refuse to accept reality that their position is off, that their belief system is off. They refuse. If I would have let it go on, she would have found an answer for everything, and I'd have been like sovereign citizen. And even if she read through the whole playbook, they will never admit that all their years of doing this is in vain. They wasted their time with the wrong people. They don't want to admit it, so they're going to double down and triple down, like you're saying here.
Oh, it's pooled.
It doesn't matter if you found the Dead Sea Scrolls in a bottle. It doesn't matter. You're not registered on the books as the beneficial owner. Those securities are being invested in by hedge funds. It's another side of those securities that you don't see. You're just looking at it. It created for me. It started for me. I should have it.
No, I don't feel like that at all. I just
But it don't. But basically, what I'm telling you is, you knowing that it's not going to get you any type of monetary value because you're not the registered owner.
well, then that's
Once it is,
considered identity theft.
it's not because the government allows it. This is how they operate off issuing securities backed by our accounts. That's how they operate. That's how they
Man,
function.
what?
The government allows it. This is a
Unless
battle
you
you're not
touch
going
it.
to. It doesn't matter. That's how they operate. The government allows it. They've decreed it. They've deemed it. They're not letting you win that.
So if I made a purchase on eBay,
Created for me. It started for me. I should have it. You're not on the books. You're not getting dividends. You're not getting issued 1099.
but I am getting dividends because I'm getting an AT&T bill. So I am.
That's not a dividend. That's not how they look at dividend. That's what I'm trying to get you to see. That's not a dividend. That's a prime example. That's another sovereign citizen way of looking at it. That's how they look at it. A bill is credit. That's how they look at it.
Shot down everything she said, but it's reality though.
Bill of
That's how they
exchange.
look. But that's what they say. I'm not being funny. That's what they say. It's a bill of exchange. That's what they say.
Yeah, they do.
That's exactly what they say. That's exactly what they say.
I found the CUSIP on it. I know it's pooled.
It doesn't matter if you found the Dead Sea Scrolls in a bottle. It doesn't matter. You're not registered on the books as the beneficial owner. Those
Yo, I did not know this segment was so. Yo, I did not know this part was so goddamn funny. God damn.
securities are being invested in by hedge funds. It's another side of those securities that you don't see. You're just looking at it. It created for me. It started for me. I should have it.
No, I don't feel like that at all. I just.
But it don't. But basically, what I'm telling you is, you knowing that it's not going to get you any type of monetary value because you're not the registered owner.
Well, then that's
Once it is,
considered identity theft.
it's not.
She has no understanding of securitization. It's not no. She does not understand securitization. That's all of her response are lack of understanding of the system that she thinks she understands. This is why I said she only got like 5 to 10% down now. All that her understanding is based on sovereign citizen revisionist history. There's nothing in the rules, there's nothing in the regulations, there's nothing in the securities law that she can actually point to that supports her position. It's all sovereign citizen revisionist history theories. That's all her understanding is.
Owner. Those securities are being invested in by hedge funds. It's another side of those securities that you don't see. You're just looking at it. It created for me. It started for me. I should have it.
No, I don't feel like that at all. I just.
But it don't. But basically, what I'm telling you is, you knowing that it's not going to get you any type of monetary value because you're not the registered owner.
Well, then that's
Once it is,
considered identity theft.
it's not because the government allows it. This is how they operate off issuing securities backed by our accounts. That's how they operate. That's how they function. The government allows it. This is a
Unless
battle
you
you're not
touch
going
it.
to win with them. It doesn't matter. That's how they operate. The government allows it. They've decreed it. They've deemed it. They're not letting you win that.
So if I made a purchase on eBay with PayPal, okay?
Yeah.
And my PayPal receipt has a unique number, right? And that receipt, you find a CUSIP number based off of that unique number. It's a G20 number, right? There's a CUSIP attached to that. That was from 2005. Now I made a eBay payment in 2024. So we're talking back in 2005. There was a CUSIP, there's securities that was created back then that I found this year.
Okay.
That have been, what was it? Certain foundations that have been, what are you laughing at? There's a foundation that used the same CUSIP number on their taxes, the 940. And another company, I mean, it just goes on and on. It's ridiculous.
Okay.
I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for it.
Why are you laughing, homie? Look.
So you want to know why they file their tax returns with that CUSIP number on it and you didn't?
Wow. Mm-hmm.
Because they have the entitlements to it. They are allowed to. You're not. That's why.
As simple as it can be.
I see.
They can do it. You can't.
It was a foundation.
They're the registered owners. They are entitled to those credits. You try to file it with the IRS, they're going to send you a 3176C stating that you're filing for credits you're not entitled to.
I'm going to go ahead and get my own CUSIPs.
See, all that went over her head. She's still going to try the sovereign citizen route. I'm going to go get my CUSIPs. I don't give a goddamn what you go get. I don't care if you go get the first skeletal remains of the first human in the world. It's not going to have any value. Doesn't mean nothing. CUSIP. You're not getting dividends from the CUSIP. You're not receiving money from the CUSIP. And just because you find the CUSIP, it doesn't mean anything. Those CUSIPs are the tracking for securities that was issued against your payments. Your payments are backing those securities in which hedge funds and other funds invest in. You're the payor. You're the one that you're the reason why they're getting paid. You're not about to jump into that fund and get paid while you're the one responsible for payment. Let's just say you do get the CUSIP, right? And you jump in the fund. How you going to get paid now? Because somebody got to pay in order for them to get paid. So if you stop paying on it, what does it mean? Because nobody's paying on it now. It's a worthless security now. They're going to close it down. It's nothing. It's over with. That's it. But that wouldn't be enough. Having your AT&T account closed out, that's not enough. They all want money.
And pretty much securities.
But you know,
Anybody
do what
can do it.
you're a big girl. You're grown. But here's the thing,
No, I'm
though.
just saying with my corporation.
No,
you know what I mean?
Because that's what they all. But that's what the sovereign citizens want to do. That's
oh my
what
God.
they all.
They don't all have corporations, do they?
No.
That's what corporations do. They get a CUSIP number.
Okay, let me just make something. Everything that you're saying right now has been tried 25, 30 years ago and it didn't work. Bam. Let's just end it all. Let's just end it all with the hard truth reality. That's the truth. If I already tried it, already went about, it don't work. And the people with this mindset, they always believe they're going to be that one exception. They all believe it's going to work for them. Everything that she talked about was already tried, tested, and already shut down. It's the belief system that's going to keep them down those rabbit holes.
She's wasting all this energy on Q-tips and this. She's not even looking at the picture she's supposed to be looking at. And that area is less time efficient than what she's going all across the board, because that's the sovereign citizen way. When you lack understanding, lack direction, you go all over the board trying to get a remedy, throwing anything at the wall, hoping it sticks, instead of focusing on this corner of the wall that pertains to you. Since they haven't identified that corner of the wall which pertains to them through study, research, patience, discipline, understanding, they're looking at the whole wall like, let me focus on this part here. I'll focus on here. And as they're moving through the wall, they skipped over the portion of the wall that applies to them because they don't have the understanding to see it, because they haven't done enough study and research. So they can't identify. So they're trying different aspects, throwing different shit at the wall, but the section that applies to them, they may throw something at it and don't even realize that, okay, I'm going to stay right here. They may throw one little thing at it, it bounce off, and then they'll keep going, not knowing, like, hold on, I need to stay right here. Nope. This is why I always go back to understanding. Once you have understanding, it eliminates a lot of that unnecessary stuff by default.
I'm not
Let's
trying.
just say that the most brilliant of us, it didn't work. It didn't work.
It's not about trying. It's about
it didn't
try.
That's why. They knew more. Yeah, but they don't. That's why.
Let's see.
They can do it. You can't.
It was a foundation.
They're the register owners. They are entitled to those credits. You try to file it with the IRS, they're going to send you a 3176C stating that you're filing for credits you're not entitled to.
I'm going to go ahead and get my own Q-tips and create my securities.
But that's
that. When she said, I'm going to get my Q-tips, then create my securities, that comes from, this is just my next step to do, because I lack the understanding and knowledge of just focusing on what I need to do. That's the next step on her list, because she doesn't really don't really have the understanding to know that I don't need to be doing all that. All I need to be is focusing right here. But she hasn't done enough study and research, because she comes from a group-like, teacher-like, following templates, following instructions like setting, instead of a group-like setting where you're going over the regulations to get the understanding and the statutes, so you can start painting a realistic picture. Everything is file this, file that, do that, without understanding why you're even really doing it.
But do what you want. You're a big girl. You're grown. But here's the thing, though.
I'm just saying with my corporation.
No, that's what they all. But that's what the sovereign citizens want to do. That's what they all.
They don't all have corporations, do they?
No.
That's what corporations do. They get a Q-tip number.
Okay, let me just make something. Everything that you're saying right now has been tried 25, 30 years ago and it didn't work.
I'm not
Let's
trying.
just say that. The most brilliant of us, it didn't work. It didn't work.
It's not about trying. It's about.
It didn't work. You don't think they said all that?
No, you can call. I've talked to them on the phone.
They knew more. Yeah, but they don't know what you're.
No, I'm saying get my own Q-tip for my corporation. I'm not talking about
right. You know what they mean? You know what that means? 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 That means the corporate issued the stock with a Q-tip number on it, so you can file on your tax return.
That would be my corporation.
So your corporation, where's your assets to back it? You can't just issue stocks without assets to back it. You got to show that to the SEC. You got to have millions of dollars of assets to back it. Then they got to be registered. Then your registered agent has to file those documents. Then you got to pay that $5, $6, and sometimes $10,000 registration fee. You ain't got that type of money to step into that world. You was trying to get a Porsche with a purchase order with no money. You don't have the credentials to step in that world. Like, it's just so easy. I'm just going to issue my own certificates. Don't even know the regulations around them. This is what happens when you get bit by the sovereign citizen bug.
It's an issue that stopped. Was you
No,
sitting
I'm
there?
saying I will be
now,
doing that myself.
you can't. So I'm trying to tell you, you can't. You can't. You don't have the authority to do so. You can't.
As a corporation?
You can't. You're not a corporation.
Period. You can't do
As
it
a
at all.
corporation, yes, I do.
You can't do it. It was an issue from their corporation to you. And you're not on the registered books as the beneficial owner. You're not.
I'm talking about a new QSIP.
It don't matter if you create a QSIP, it doesn't matter.
But I've called the QSIP. I called
It don't
QSIP myself,
matter.
and I
don't
how can I
care.
inquire about it? I want
I
a
don't
QSIP
care
number.
if you call Moses. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
I'm gonna go get
Just
my
like
QSIP number.
What I
Matt,
said.
Hey, crypto.
just like you called Matt. You're not a corporation.
Period. You can't
I
do it
have
at
a
all.
corporation, yes, I do.
She's I called her. I'm just going to get a corporate. This is what she said. I'm a corporation. I'm just going to start issuing my own QSIPs. Where's your registration statement at? Where's your assets backing it? You have to show your assets, your balance sheet of liquid assets, not no fucking straw man trust fund account backing it. Where's the liquid assets in the in the reserve account? Where's it at? Where's your liquid assets at? Where they at? What class notes are you doing? What's backing them? Where's it at? She's talking out of her neck. All that shit is just theory. It sounds good until you put it on paper and get to execute it. You really think she's going to spend $10,000 to file that registration? Do you know how long those registration statements are? Those registration statements are hundreds of pages long. You think she's going to sit there and type up 300 to 400 pages registration statement? And then she has to have a market for her securities. You really think she's going to just her by herself step into that world? That's what I'm saying. They're looking at it from so much of a delusional standpoint. They don't even realize how far-fetched she sounded. She would have to create a corporation. I'm not saying she can't create a corporation. She would have to build up the capital, hire officers. The level of the corporation she needs to be on to even do that, that's Walmart. That's Credit Acceptance Corporation. That's JP Morgan Acquisition Corporation. That's that type of level. She does not have the assets. She doesn't have the collateral. She doesn't have the means. She don't even have the understanding of how to put a registration statement together. She has no knowledge of that field.
Ew.
You can't do it. It was an issue from their corporation to you. And you're not on the registered books as the beneficial owner. You're not.
I'm talking about a new QSIP.
It don't matter if you create a QSIP, it doesn't matter.
But I've called the QSIP. I called
It don't
QSIP myself,
matter.
and
I
how can I inquire about it? I want a
don't
QSIP
care
number.
if you call Moses. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
I'm gonna go get
Just
my
like
QSIP number. And
called
say,
Matt,
Hey, crypto.
just like you called Matt, and he said one thing, and then you went to go execute. It was a totally different story. That's going to be the same thing. What?
Hey, crypto. What he's saying is he's not just telling you that to say that you're wrong because there's some ulterior motive. He's literally telling you it can't happen, no matter if you have a company. It doesn't work that way at all. Period.
And I'm not trying to derail you or discourage you, but I'd say this because that's what I said. That's why I went back to the point I made earlier. You're only looking at it narrow-minded one way, regardless of the phone calls you make. Phone calls don't mean nothing.
oh,
They don't mean nothing. I'm sorry, the phone calls don't mean nothing. They could tell you whatever they want to tell you.
Conversation.
It don't matter. This what I'm trying to get you understand. This what I'm trying to get you understand. Phone calls don't mean nothing. It doesn't mean nothing.
You're on the phone with the QSIP.
It doesn't mean nothing.
For you.
I'll put it in perspective
All
like
right, let me
this.
say this. There you go. Let me say this. I got you. Let me say this. phone calls don't mean nothing unless you have a written agreement with them, what allows you to issue a security backed by their QSIPs.
Right. That's what Judy say. So I don't care about the phone call. Is it in writing? Did they have it in writing with saying we're going to allow crypto to issue QSIPs backed by whatever entitlement? Where's it at in writing? Where's it at in writing? If it's not in writing, it means nothing. They tell you everything over the phone. If you haven't read it in their own regulations, their own rules, where it's allowed, and you can show that to us evidence, or they got a written agreement with you, phone calls mean nothing.
Or issue your own QSIP backed by that QSIP, which is backed by the security. You have nothing in writing.
I get it. Right. Go to the SEC. Yes, you have to. Yes, I get that. I understand. Totally.
But you have nothing in writing. Phone calls don't mean nothing.
No, I made a phone
Do you
call.
know? Let me say this.
I made phone calls to inquire just to get to understand.
I got you. But
Right.
in order for you to get any type of proceeds, do you know their hedge funds are going to have to take a loss? Those investors are going to have to take a loss. You know that, right? And you know the sole purpose is to protect the investors. In order for you to get remedy, the investors have to take a loss. Do you know the backlash will come if the investors are taking a loss because you're getting your remedy? The investors can sue them for defrauding them.
I hear you.
So they're not going to give you any type of rhythm with anything associated with that QSIP. That is how the system works. And I need you, crypto, is to start looking at the situation in its totality instead of narrow-minded, your way, your vision, what you see, what you want, how you could do it. Look at it in the whole world. Because I'm going to tell you this. If you try to mimic those securities just because you feel it right, you have to, because you have a PayPal account and you got issued a deal.
I'm not trying to mimic. I'm just saying, why can't we play?
Because you can't. You're not in that world. Because we're not in that world.
Okay.
That's why.
I hear you.
That's why we got to know our position and play within
let's make our own
world.
worlds. Yeah.
Right. Now, your own world would be is if you're in a finance situation with them. Now you can play around with that. Yeah.
Now, another thing you can't do is your own government, state, and law.
Now, oh God. Now you're the Morse American.
Listen,
Morse American.
For me to change, listen, for real, you know about my schools, right? I
told you. Go ahead.
Right. So for me to change any type of curriculum in a school, right, you have to have your own state government and law. You have to. I've done the research. So by that being, you could create your own securities, your own QSIPs, your own corporation, just like the United States did.
Right.
Something.
Like a charter.
Exactly.
Hey, crypto, if we ever go to war, I need to know where you're at so I can have you
I'm out of jurisdiction, baby. I'm out of jurisdiction. Listen. I told the postmaster.
God.
My vessel is in Hong Kong waters.
Hey, crypto. That Moore's sovereign citizen bug done crept up and bit you while you were sleeping. You woke up like, what the hell bit me? You went to sleep like, oh, to make a deposit. You woke up after you got bit. I want to take all my interest out of this business.
Yeah. Hey, them teeth are sunk in deep. God.
No. All right, y'all. Yeah. So, thank you, Annie. So yeah, but that just goes to highlight how the sovereign citizen bug is crazy. That sovereign citizen bug will have you like that sovereign citizen bug, man. It's crazy how that sovereign citizen bug is. All right, that sovereign citizen bug is a mean one. It's a mean one, y'all. And you see it played out in real time. The effects of the sovereign citizen bug, even if you the effects is there, and the effects play out in their everyday transactions with these people. So, with that being said, I got some work to be done. And please tap in with me. Please be informed. Do not allow these people to sell you the banana in the tailpipe. Because I guarantee you one thing, it's always going to end the same. It's never going to be anything worth of value. It's always going to be wasted steps, wasted motions, waste of your time, money, resources, and everything. Oh shit, Famous Nova, you could have hopped on that panel, broski. My bad. Because I had my phone doing other things. So if you was trying to get online, my fault. But I'll open the panel next time. Until next time, be informed. Get rid of the sovereign citizen bug. That bug is a dangerous one. It's infectious.